Hi, my name is Dan Kedrick Teague, and this is vlog number 8 for IAH 207. And in this vlog, I'll be covering the second part of Push by Sapphire. In this second part of the passage, what I found really important was the fact that Precious has begun to feel comfortable with overcoming her boundaries and things holding her back in her life. She's getting better at reading and writing, and she's improving in her literary skills, to the point where she even is given an award by the city for her literary achievements. One thing that I also found interesting was when Precious is finding a new place to live. She's provided books by Miss Rain, and with these books, it's stories like Pat King's Family, Harriet Tubman. It's very powerful pieces of just like powerful Black influencers, and a lot of these stories talk about women and their treatment from their husband, how a lot of them is stories of them being beaten and abandoned by their husbands. And I felt Miss Rain provided these books to Precious to kind of show her that life is a very hard thing to go through, and by giving her the opportunity to witness the stories of other people and their struggles, it kind of makes it not easier for Precious, but makes her it probably set her to feel less hatred for her own life and her own circumstances, and kind of make her feel less alone, because she's being shown the stories from these other people that also are experiencing kind of the similar things that she's going through. But from her finally being comfortable with the things that she's going through, she's finally stepping up her life and achieving her goals. Her mother comes back into her life. She contacts her social worker and sets up a meeting with Precious and the social worker. And in this meeting, Precious is trying to figure out why her mother is back and what she's there for and what she wants to talk about. And one of the things that her mother says to her is that her father dies. And very quietly, she says that he dies of AIDS. And I feel like she said that quietly because she's very ashamed. She knows everything that Precious has been through because of her husband and her. And now it seems it's very hard, even for her mother, even though she treated her that type of way for most of her life. It's still very hard for her mother to come out to tell Precious that her dad died of AIDS, because it's gonna go back to Precious because of his relations with her and Precious's child. So this comes to a shock to Precious, how she has AIDS, and not that she has AIDS, there's a chance of her getting AIDS, and she does end up getting AIDS, and she has to start worrying about her children and her safety. But what's really important about this is even though Precious was finally starting to overcome her goals and started achieving these big things for herself, another thing in her life sets her back. She feels entirely broken, to the point she snaps at Miss Rain during class. She doesn't want her to write her story anymore. But when she speaks to Miss Rain about this tragedy, there's one thing Miss Rain says to Precious that I felt was very powerful. Was Precious never got a chance to tell her story, and Miss Rain tells Precious to continue to push on, to carry on with life, basically. And to me, that was just a big factor in Precious' life, from Miss Rain helping her and aiding her and all these things. And this is one of the things that Precious, just another thing that Precious just has to overcome. And that's what I felt was most powerful in this passage, because from all the things that she's already gone through, there's another thing that sets her back, another thing that she has to overcome, and it's just making Precious a stronger person. She already achieved starting to read and write. She's teaching her kids how to read and write, and she's just another thing that is helping her push to continue on in life. And I think this is what makes her determined and sets her sets her to the point where she is ready and determined to carry on with life.